If you're over 50 and you eat this popular leafy green thinking it's good for your bones, you might actually be weakening them without even knowing it. I know that sounds hard to believe after all. We're always told to eat more greens, right? But the truth is, one specific leafy green that's often called healthy could be quietly pulling calcium out of your bones while you sleep. No warning, no pain. Just one day, you wake up and something feels off. Maybe it's a small crack in your foot after a walk, or a sharp pain in your back when you bend. For some people, it's even worse, a broken bone from a simple trip or slip, the kind that changes your life overnight. As a bone doctor with over 20 years of experience, I've seen this happen again and again. What surprises me most is that it's not caused by poor diet or lack of exercise. It's caused by something people thought was helping, and it shocked even me. Have you ever wondered if your healthy food choices could actually be doing harm to your bones? Type 1 in the comments if you're curious, or 0 if this is all new to you. I've spent over 2 decades working with patients who suffer from weak bones, fractures, and bone loss. As a bone doctor, I've helped thousands of people rebuild strength, prevent injuries, and understand how their daily habits affect their skeleton. And one thing I've learned is this: after the age of 50, bone health becomes more important than ever. Your bones naturally start to thin, and even small changes in your routine can make a big difference, either for better or worse. Now, here's something that surprises almost everyone I talk to. While leafy greens are often praised for supporting strong bones, one of the most popular leafy greens, the kind you might be eating every day, could actually be making your bones weaker. Not in a way you'd notice right away, but quietly over time, it may be pulling calcium out of your body, especially while you sleep. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly which leafy green I'm talking about, how it affects your bones, and what you can do instead to stay safe and strong. I'll also walk you through some common mistakes that many people over 50 are making without even realizing it, and how to fix them starting today, right from your kitchen. And no, it's not spinach. That's actually the second worst one. The one I'm talking about is even more common in healthy households. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Mrs. Thompson. She's 75 years old, full of life, and one of the most active women I've ever met at her age. She did yoga every morning, walked her dog twice a day, and followed a strict plant-based diet. She didn't smoke, didn't drink, and she took her health seriously. In fact, when she first came to my clinic, she said, "I'm doing everything right, so why are my bones getting weaker?" Mrs. Thompson had been feeling more tired than usual. She complained of a dull ache in her lower back and stiffness when she woke up. Then one morning, after a simple trip on the carpet, she fell and fractured her wrist. It wasn't a big fall, but the damage was done. That's what worried me. We ran some tests. Her blood work showed low calcium levels. A bone scan revealed signs of early osteoporosis. It didn't make sense at first. She ate a clean diet and took her vitamins. But then I asked her to keep a food journal for a week. That's when we found the problem. Every day, Mrs. Thompson was eating 2 large servings of beet greens. She added them to smoothies, soups, and salads, thinking they were boosting her bone health. But what she didn't know was that beet greens are extremely high in oxalates, natural compounds that can bind to calcium in your gut and flush it out before your body can absorb it. Over time, this can lead to calcium deficiency even if you're eating the right foods. Mrs. Thompson was shocked. She thought she was doing her bones a favor, but that leafy green was quietly working against her. Once we removed the high oxalate greens from her diet and replaced them with safer options, her calcium levels began to improve. Do you eat leafy greens daily for your bones? Type leafy in the comments if yes, or occasionally if you eat them now and then. Let's talk about what's really happening inside your body when you eat certain leafy greens. Some vegetables like Swiss chard, beet greens, and spinach are very high in something called oxalates. Oxalates are natural compounds found in many plants. On their own, they're not dangerous, but when they mix with calcium in your body, they bind together and form little crystals. And here's the problem. Your body can't absorb those crystals. Instead of your bones getting the calcium they need, it gets stuck. Some of it gets flushed out through your urine. But in many people, especially older adults, those crystals can start to build up and lead to kidney stones. And while that's painful enough, there's something even more concerning. When your body doesn't absorb enough calcium from food, it still needs calcium to function, so it starts pulling it from your bones, especially at night, while you're sleeping and your body is repairing itself. Over time, this quiet process can make your bones thinner and more fragile, even if you're eating well and taking supplements. One study from a major medical journal found that high oxalate diets combined with low calcium absorption increase the risk of both kidney issues and bone loss in older adults. That means the very greens you thought were protecting you might be doing the opposite, especially if you eat them often and don't pair them with the right foods. So remember, it's not about cutting out all greens, it's about knowing which ones to eat and how to eat them the right way. But it's not just greens that can quietly hurt your bones. There are a few common habits, especially ones people do right before bed, that can actually make calcium loss even worse. I'll show you exactly what they are in just a moment. Mr. Davis was a 8-year-old retired teacher who came to see me after suffering 2 small fractures within just 6 months. He didn't understand what was going wrong. "I take my calcium every single night," he told me. I thought I was doing everything right. He was careful about his health, stayed active, and followed a clean, mostly plant-based diet. On paper, he seemed like someone with strong bones. But something wasn't adding up. After talking more, I learned about his daily routine. Every evening, just before bed, he made a green smoothie packed with spinach and beet greens, both loaded with oxalates. He also took his calcium and magnesium supplements at the same time, thinking bedtime was the best moment to feed his bones while he slept. But that combination created the perfect storm. The high oxalates in the greens were binding with the calcium from his supplements. Instead of being absorbed by his body, the calcium was getting flushed out, or worse, forming crystals in his kidneys. His body was still desperate for calcium, so it started pulling it from his bones. A few weeks later, Mr. Davis ended up in the ER with sharp lower back pain. Tests showed kidney stones and signs of bone-thinning borderline osteoporosis. He was shocked. "I was trying to take care of myself," he said. "How did I get here?" Once we changed his routine, moving his supplements to the morning and switching to low oxalate greens like kale and bok choy, things started to improve. His calcium levels balanced out, and no more kidney stone attacks. Do you take calcium or magnesium at night? Type yes or no below. You may be surprised by what I share next. Here are the top 5 leafy greens that might be stealing calcium from your bones, especially if you're over 50 and eating them regularly. These are all healthy in small amounts, but when eaten too often or in the wrong way, they can quietly increase calcium loss and even lead to kidney stones. 1. Spinach. Spinach is often seen as a superfood, but it's one of the highest in oxalates. These oxalates bind with calcium in your gut, making it hard for your body to absorb it. If you're eating spinach every day, especially raw, you could be lowering your calcium levels without knowing it. Tip: if you enjoy spinach, have it with a source of calcium like calcium citrate or dairy, and try steaming it to lower the oxalate content. 2. Beet greens. They look beautiful and are rich in nutrients, but beet greens are also very high in oxalates. Eating them daily in salads or smoothies can build up oxalate levels over time. Tip: limit to once or twice a week and avoid pairing with calcium supplements. 3. Swiss chard. This one surprises many people. Swiss chard is often used in soups and stir-fries, but it's another oxalate-rich green. It doesn't taste bitter like others, so people tend to eat more, which can be a problem. Tip: steam it lightly and eat in moderation. Rotate with low oxalate greens. 4. Rhubarb. Rhubarb is not just for pies. Some people add it to smoothies, thinking it's healthy, but it's extremely high in oxalates and can stress the kidneys if eaten too often. Tip: best to avoid using it raw. Cook it well and only enjoy it occasionally. 5. Parsley in large amounts. A little parsley as garnish is no problem, but when people juice it in large amounts or drink parsley teas daily, it becomes a concern. It's stronger than it looks. Tip: keep parsley as a flavor boost, not a main ingredient. Avoid large doses in juices. Knowing which greens to watch out for is the first step in protecting your bones and kidneys. Coming up next, I'll show you the best greens to eat instead, the ones that actually support calcium and keep your bones strong. Now that you know which greens can increase calcium loss, let's talk about the better options, the ones that actually help your bones instead of hurting them. These are low oxalate, bone-safe foods that give your body the calcium it needs and help you absorb it the right way. One of the best choices is kale, especially when it's lightly boiled or steamed. Kale is low in oxalates and packed with calcium, vitamin K, and other nutrients your bones love. It's a great green to include regularly in your meals. Next is bok choy, a mild, crunchy green that's common in Asian dishes. It's gentle on the stomach and low in oxalates, making it a perfect choice for soups, stir-fries, or steamed side dishes. Collard greens are another good option. They have more oxalates than kale or bok choy, but still much less than spinach or beet greens. If you cook them well, you can enjoy their calcium benefits without worry. Don't forget broccoli. It may not be a leafy green, but it's loaded with bone-building nutrients. It's also very low in oxalates, making it a safe and smart choice. Turnip greens, when cooked, are another excellent food for your bones. Like collards, they should be eaten cooked, not raw, to lower oxalate content. But it's not just about the greens. Your bones also need calcium cofactors, nutrients that help your body use calcium properly. For magnesium, try adding pumpkin seeds, almonds, or avocado to your meals. Magnesium helps direct calcium to your bones instead of soft tissues. For vitamin D, your best sources are sunshine and foods like salmon or eggs. Without enough D, your body can't absorb calcium well, no matter how much you eat. And don't forget about vitamin K2, which helps move calcium into your bones and out of your arteries. You can find K2-inch fermented foods like natto, sauerkraut, or certain cheeses. By choosing the right greens and supporting nutrients, you're giving your bones what they truly need without the silent damage. Keep watching, because next I'll share another story of how one simple diet change made a big difference. Mrs. Wynn was 68 years old when she came to see me. She had been eating a vegetarian diet for over 30 years, rarely had dairy, and tried to stay healthy by walking and doing light stretching at home. But over the last year, she started falling more often. Nothing serious at first, just slips or missteps. But it was happening more than it should. Her knees hurt, her back ached, and she felt like her body was getting weaker. Her doctor had mentioned early signs of osteoporosis, and she was scared. She told me proudly that she ate tons of greens, mostly spinach, every single day. Salads, smoothies, soups, spinach was her go-to. But she didn't realize that all that spinach, while full of nutrients, was also blocking calcium from being absorbed. Combined with low dairy intake, her body simply wasn't getting enough calcium where it mattered into her bones. We did a full diet review and started from scratch. First, we swapped out the spinach and replaced it with steamed kale, bok choy, and broccoli. Then, since she wasn't eating much dairy, I suggested she add small servings of sardines a couple of times a week, one of the best calcium-rich foods, even for people who don't eat meat often. We also added sesame seeds to her meals and snacks, which are great sources of calcium and magnesium. 6 months later, Mrs. Wynne returned with a smile on her face. She had more energy, fewer aches, and her balance had improved. Her bone scan showed better density in her hips and spine. She looked at me and said, "I thought I was eating for my bones now. I finally am." Her story is a reminder that sometimes small changes make a big difference, but only when we know what to change. But even good food isn't enough if you're doing this one thing wrong before bed. It's a common habit many people over 50 have, and it could be draining your bones while you sleep. Let me explain. Most people don't realize that some of their nighttime habits can quietly make calcium loss worse, even if they're eating well. One of the biggest mistakes is drinking too much water right before bed. While staying hydrated is important, overloading your system at night can cause your body to flush out minerals, including calcium and magnesium, through your urine. That means you're losing what your bones need while you sleep. Another common habit is taking calcium supplements right before bed, especially with a meal high in oxalates like spinach or beet greens. When you do this, the oxalates bind to the calcium and stop your body from absorbing it. It's like pouring it down the drain. There's also something called a magnesium to calcium imbalance. If you take too much calcium without enough magnesium, it can actually send the wrong signals to your body and keep calcium from getting into your bones where it belongs. Balance matters. And don't forget sleep itself. Poor sleep raises your cortisol levels, that's your stress hormone, and high cortisol has been linked to increased bone breakdown over time. So, what can you do instead? Try taking your calcium with lunch instead of dinner. It gives your body more time to use it properly. Eat lower oxalate foods at night and save the heavier greens for earlier in the day. Drink most of your water during the day and just a small glass after dinner. And finally, add a little movement in the morning, like a walk or light stretch. Weight-bearing activity helps tell your bones to stay strong. These small changes can make a big difference in how well your body holds on to calcium, especially while you sleep. You don't need to be afraid of food. You just need to understand what your body needs and what it doesn't. That's the real key to protecting your bones as you age. It's not about cutting out all greens or avoiding supplements forever. It's about being aware of how certain foods and habits affect your calcium levels, especially after 50. If you've been eating healthy but still dealing with weak bones, pain, or balance problems, it might be time to dig a little deeper. Ask your doctor to check your calcium levels. If you've never had a bone scan, consider getting one. These tests can catch early signs of bone loss before a fracture happens. Also, talk to your doctor or a dietitian about oxalates, especially if you eat a lot of high oxalate foods or have a history of kidney stones. They can help you build a plan that supports your bones without hidden risks. Most of all, stay informed. The more you understand how your body works, the better choices you can make. Knowledge is what keeps you strong, steady, and independent as you grow older. And now I'd love to hear from you. What's one food or habit you'll reconsider after this video? Let me know in the comments. Your answer might help someone else too. If you found this video helpful, give it a like. It helps more people find this important information and protect their bone health. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more simple, science-backed tips every week from a bone doctor who's here to help you stay strong and steady as you age. Also, take a moment to leave a comment below. Whether it's a question, a story, or just a quick thank you, your words could encourage someone else to start paying attention to their bone health too. We're building a real community here, one where older adults can learn, share, and take action together. And finally, share this video with someone you care about, especially if they're over 50 and eat leafy greens every day thinking it's helping their bones. You could be the reason they avoid a painful fracture or finally understand what their body truly needs. Thanks for being here, and remember, strong bones start with smart choices.